one more switch going on right now behind us. We have our symphonic band kind of dispersing and our 8th grade band coming into their setup. While the switch is going on, we want to take the opportunity to point out to you that the Encore Music Camp is back. And if your child is interested, please make sure that you register by Friday, June 17th. The camp will run from Monday, July 25th through Thursday, July 28th, with a performance evening of Thursday, July 28th. There is also the option to go to Raging Waves on Friday the 29th. Please see one of the blue pages in your program for information, as well as for the registration form and waiver. On to scholarship winners. We had several band students earn a Batavia Women's Club scholarship to assist them in paying for summer music camp tuition. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating with a round of applause Timmy Benz, Jack Thompson, and Nate Cooper. We also had numerous band students earn a Batavia Music Buff scholarship to be put toward various summer music camp endeavors. Students, when I say your name, please come forward to collect your scholarship envelope. starting with 7th grade, Salome Fogelman, Timmy Benz, Ava Garcia, Maggie Cahill, and on to 8th grade, Nate Cooper, Alexa Garcia, Maya McGlory, Colin Murdas, Alyssa Kruger, Anna Haldeman, Owen Hana, and Allison Kumo. Before I turn the floor over to the 8th grade band, Mr. Osvath and I have many people to thank for making this year of music possible. First of all of you, parents, neighbors, friends, family members, students, please give these fine people a generous round of applause. From a tough crowd. Well done. Next, Mr. Osvath and I would like to thank all of you for all of your hard work, 7th and 8th graders this year. So thank you very, very much. We are also so fortunate to have such a supportive administration here at Batavia, particularly at Rotolo. And tonight with us we have one of our assistant principals, Mrs. Hicks. Mrs. Hicks, please come on out from behind the bleachers where you are hiding. We also have a phenomenal music department here at Rotolo Middle School, and Mr. Osvath and I want to extend a special thank you to Mr. Buckley for not only being our faithful cameraman, but for everything he has done in lessons and with the percussion ensemble. Thank you so much, Mr. Buckley. And ladies and gentlemen, as much as Mr. Osvath and I wish that these chairs would magically unfold themselves and the stands would march down here like something out of Sorcerer's Apprentice, unfortunately, they don't. We have a phenomenal custodial staff that donates their time and helps us set up for every concert. So please offer them a round of applause. And last but not least, many of you are members of the Batavia Music Buffs, and we thank you so much for being members of such a great organization which allows us to have such a successful music program like this. So thank you very much, Batavia Music Buffs, for everything that you do. Ladies and gentlemen, the 8th grade band is going to do a very short warm-up, and then they will kick off their performance this evening with a piece called Ruckus.
So, our next piece will be conducted by Mr. John O'Crescent from the University of Illinois. He's been student teaching with us since March and has really done a fantastic job. And I want to personally, and I know Ms. Reese can support me in this, wish him luck and continued success as he takes some upcoming interviews for teaching jobs in Illinois and in Indiana. And as a small thank you for your hard work and dedication, I wanted to give you a small token of appreciation, so please come on up. So you have an interview tomorrow, don't you? Thursday. And then he'll be back on Friday for his last day, so you guys can say. Oh, you're coming back on Monday too? Awesome. He's actually graduated, so he just keeps coming back for more, so. That's awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go back to a time when polyester was all the fashion rage. And Pintos and Gremlins could be seen on the streets of Chicago. You could spot a Pinto, right? Because they didn't blow up. They got rear-ended. So I know you're going to enjoy this great melody of popular Chicago tunes conducted by Mr. O'Crescent.
Wow, nice job, eighth grade band. That was quite a treat. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we make our final transition this evening, we have just a few more end-of-the-year reminders, and then we'll be ready for our jazz ensemble to finish out our concert for us. Number one, school-owned instrument fees can be paid in Power School. This applies to you if your student plays one of the following instruments. Or uses a school instrument such as a tuba, baritone, trombone, French horn, tenor saxophone, bari saxophone, bassoon, bass clarinet, or percussion equipment. So just a few. Both of the 7th and 8th graders will need instruments tomorrow at school. Everybody hear that? You need instruments tomorrow? Okay. And last thing, following the final performance given by the jazz ensemble, please allow the students to exit the gym first with their instruments and all of their equipment, and then be able to meet you near the cafeteria when they are all finished. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and have a great rest of your evening. And here is the jazz ensemble playing Sweet Home Chicago.